Hi, Sid. How are you doing?
Good man, good man.
Oh,
I'm just trying to lower the sound on my side a little bit loud. Okay, how you been, man? It's been a while. I missed you last week. A lot of action happened. Upsets as usual happened. I mean, there was a possible upset during the week, but Afghanistan really goofed up, to be very polite. They dropped Maxwell, and they pretty much Steve was there to Gibbs when he dropped that in 1991. I think Afghanistan dropped the semi-final opportunities. Because even yesterday was pretty dicey. So yeah, man, what have your thoughts been before we get into the semi-finals? Because after England won the toss today and elected a bat, that pretty much kills Pakistan's 1% chances of making a miracle happen. Because Pakistan had to bat first to make a miracle happen because it was impossible for Pakistan to chase because they would have had to chase us the 3 overs to make a miracle happen. So yeah, man. So what are your thoughts before we?
yeah, I mean, all good, all good. Look, it's. I mean, last time we spoke, it's been quite an interesting 2 weeks of World Cup action. You know, we've seen some, we've seen some really good performances. There's some teams that have obviously that uh, they're cut above the rest in this tournament.
Oh, hello, can you
Yeah,
hear
can you hear
me?
me?
Ye-
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I missed what
yeah,
you were saying. Yeah, there was a bit of a cut there, so I couldn't hear what you were saying.
yeah. No, it's been a very interesting 2 weeks of World Cup action. I think a lot of teams have shown their dominance. And look, I think there's been a bit of predictability in terms of semi-final spots. There's some teams that have underperformed
Mm,
in this tournament, and we've seen who those teams are. But
mm,
I think um, on the balance of form and results, I would say probably four of the most consistent teams of this tournament is in the semi-finals. And I mean,
mm, mm,
this Indian team, this juggernaut keeps on going. I mean, they've been so
mm,
dominant so far in home conditions,
mm,
and they've kind of brushed aside every team that they played against.
mm,
I,
mm.
I think the one team that really gave them a run was probably New Zealand.
Mm.
And funny as it is, New Zealand and India are playing the first semi-final
Yeah,
on Wednesday, so that's going to be really spicy. Um,
yeah,
Look, it's been a
yeah.
good tournament for the Proteas, eh? It's been a good tournament so far for the Proteas. I think coming into this tournament, there were a lot of people that were kind of on the, I'd say 50-50 as
Fence.
to how
Yeah,
how this
fence.
team would
Yeah.
would perform, how this team would perform
Mm,
in this tournament. And I mean, to get into the semi-finals with 2 games to spare, I
mm.
think that's a great achievement.
Yeah,
And obviously, yesterday's game was a very morale boosting win.
yeah.
They were tested in patches, which is a good thing. They were tested, and they, they, they,
Mm,
they
mm.
they overcame it.
Yeah,
It was a lot more comfortable because the Pakistan
yeah.
game had us all on the edge of our seats. So, you know, it's kind of nice to see them do it with, 2.5 overs to spare. But I mean,
Mm,
the standout team of the tournament so far has been India. I mean, 8 out of 8.
mm, mm.
Um, I was expecting a really close game against the Proteas on Sunday, but it didn't turn
Yeah.
out that way. I just think, the bowling on that pitch, especially their spinners, I mean, they just hit the right lengths, and it was so
Mm,
difficult,
mm, mm.
kind of unplayable on that wicket there after scoring 300 plus,
Yeah,
which was a great total. I mean, let's be honest, 300 plus is
yeah,
always
yeah,
going to challenge you
yeah.
as a batting team. Chasing second. And,
Mm,
the Proteas fell well short.
mm.
Uh, but you could say they kind of needed that's kind of test as well in terms of their bowling. Their
Yeah.
bowling has been so superb in the power play. So,
Mm,
it was it was a good learning experience for them.
yeah.
And, it's something that could hold them in good stead, going into the latter stages of the tournament, which is where we now at the business end. And then obviously, I'd say the highlight for me this week has definitely got to be Maxwell. I mean, unbelievable how
Mm.
one of the greatest ODI innings, and probably by some the greatest that we've seen in a
Yeah.
chase. I mean,
Yeah.
pressure,
Mm.
Australia in all sorts of trouble, 91 for 7, and
Mm.
that was probably the last relative partnership that they
Mm.
did have. But I mean, batting on one leg, showing
Yeah.
so much of courage.
Yeah.
It was an unbelievable innings. It was an unbelievable innings,
Mm.
and I mean, we know the potential of Maxwell. I mean,
Yeah.
on his day, he can take any bowling attack apart.
Mm.
We've seen that in the
Mm.
IPL. We've seen that in T20 cricket.
Mm.
We've seen it in ODIs. I think I would only say the one thing with him is he's not that consistent. But when it's his
Yeah,
day,
of course.
boy,
Yeah.
boy, 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 is it his day. And that was an unbelievable innings. I was actually speechless when I was following the scores.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
Afghanistan really threw this one away, as you said. I mean, that drop by Mujib was an absolute sitter. I mean,
Yeah.
you got to take those ones, Sid. You got to take those ones. I mean,
Yeah.
fine leg. I mean,
We dropped the semi-finals.
the thing is, the thing is, what was
Yeah.
so strange about that
Mm.
catch? It's not that he tested him. It did come with pace. I mean, it was a good height. It came at good
Mm.
speed for him. I mean, that's something you would
Mm.
grab, like 9.5 out of 10 times,
Yeah.
in a week. So I mean, that was the game. Unfortunately, that was the game for them. I think
Yeah.
Afghanistan played a great game. They did play a great
Mm.
game. I think for 70% of that game, they looked on top. But I mean, the last 30% of that game, it really swung. It really swung Australia's way by the brutal hitting of Maxwell. I mean, unbelievable, not
And
absolutely unbelievable.
and had Afghanistan won, it would have made this table so exciting. It would have made Australia would have had to beat Bangladesh, and it would have also had meant that, yeah, I don't know what would have happened actually with that points table. It would have really made it exciting. Like, look at how Bangladesh has played in the last 2 matches. They've started to really show why Bangladesh are competitive. I think they made over 300 runs today, and they have Australia for. Oh, a second, let me just check the scoreline. Oh, no, okay, it looks like Australia is up there scoring again. Okay, 37 for 1, facing 307. So, yeah, it would have been really interesting had that situation happened. But anyway, as I famously say, it's what happens. So we'll get over it. Yeah, man. But anyway, let's go into the semi if that's okay with you.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, yeah, okay. India and New Zealand, they're playing in the Wankiti. I'm sure New Zealand, if they had to pick out of the two grounds, I'm sure they would be very happy with the Wankiti because that would suit their game more than the Kolkata pitch, eh? Because although I would say New Zealand is a versatile team, I remember New Zealand beating India in a T20 match of the World Cup at Nagpur, and that pitch really turned. So it's not like they are, but I'm sure if you ask New Zealand, they would definitely have picked Mumbai. And I think India, if they had their way, they would have wanted to play in Kolkata, and then if in Australia, they would have batted out in Mumbai, I think. But I'm a bit nervous for this match because New Zealand always seems to have India's heads on knockouts. But I hope India. I think India's turned the corner. They've beaten teams which they normally have issues with. So hopefully they make it to the finals, and then it's anyone's game for the second one. You see in Australia at Kolkata, and I don't want to be negative, but I think it's his best chance is to bat first because I'm very nervous and chasing. Despite the fact they did chase well yesterday, but I mean not well, but they were a bit up and down. It was nice to see Patrick Wire hit some boundaries at the end. I was kind of telling Mom before he scored those boundaries that I just want to see 3 boundaries, and he got it done. I was like, okay, good, this is fun. No, but seriously, I think it's going to be anyone for the semis. As much as I would like to say India and SA, but it could be India, Australia also.
Yeah, I mean, you look, before I get into the semi-final, I mean, credit
Yeah.
to Petr Kwaya. I mean, just coming
Mm.
into the team, his first game of the
Mm.
World Cup, and
Yeah,
I mean, he was under pressure, no doubt about it. 183 for
of
5,
course.
anything could have happened. I mean, you got the tail to come afterwards. So, yeah, I mean, fantastic finishing at the end. I mean, that was kind
Mm.
of Lance Klusener towards the end there. I mean, 6,
Mm.
4, 6. He did it so, I mean, effortlessly.
Mm.
So that was fantastic
Mm.
to see from Petr Kwaya. I mean, first game of the
Mm.
World Cup, and he showed that he's a valuable member of the squad.
Mm.
But I mean, yeah,
Mm.
I mean, semi-finals. This is the business end of the competition now, Sid.
Yeah.
This is the stage we've all been waiting for, and it's two pressure cookers on the line, one in Mumbai and then one in Kolkata.
Mm.
Look, New Zealand have given India trouble in previous World Cups. But I also feel that India won't have an issue playing New Zealand because, I mean, they've been so dominant in this World Cup. And I think Mumbai as well will definitely suit them and suit their fast bowlers. If India bat first, their fast
Mm.
bowlers will be a real handful in that pitch,
Mm.
batting
At
second. I
night
mean,
time,
we
yeah.
saw,
Yeah,
yeah, we saw what they did to Sri Lanka. So I
yeah.
don't think India will be too disappointed playing at Mumbai. I actually wanted the Proteas to play at Mumbai because I think that's a pitch that actually suits them a lot because that reminds me of the Wanderers. I mean, there's
Mm.
there's
Mm.
I mean the outfield is lightning. There's enough bounce. There's enough pace. It's kind of like a South African deck,
Mm.
Mumbai. It's really really South African, in my opinion. I
Okay.
just love that ground. But yeah, I mean New Zealand can they upset the apple cart here? It's going to be a tough one. Eh? It's really really going to be a tough one because I mean, if we can talk about the Indian batting and we can talk about Kohli. I mean,
Mm.
I mean, he's an absolute goat. I mean, uh, equaling, the great Sachin Tendulkar's record of 49 ODI centuries. And I mean, that's phenomenal. That's phenomenal. He's a phenomenal player. I mean, probably the best batter of our generation so far. I mean, especially in run chases. I mean, run chases, we know what a challenge that is. I mean, he's an unbelievable
Yeah.
player. 49 with the great Tendulkar. I mean, he's got that opportunity now to obviously you know overtake Sachin, and what a momentous
Mm.
achievement that would be. Hey, I mean, I'm
Yeah.
not sure if he's going to play tomorrow because tomorrow is Diwali. I'm not sure if India is going to make a few changes. We'll have to wait and see if Kohli does play tomorrow. But I mean, he'll want to break that record before this World Cup ends.
Mm.
I mean, I know Kohli, he sets such high standards for himself. He'll want to break that record before the tournament ends. So,
Mm.
yeah, I mean, New Zealand are serious underdogs here, hey? I mean, given this Indian batting lineup and the bowling, I mean, has been absolutely superb from India in this World Cup so far.
Mm.
I mean, their seam bowling, we talk about their spinners, but their seam bowling, I mean, with Shami coming back, Shami has made this attack look so much more ruthless, Sid.
Mm.
I think he's been the standout bowler for them. In the second half of this tournament, unbelievable from that New Zealand game right up till the last game against SA. He's been superb, superb.
Mm.
I mean, great lines, great lengths.
Mm.
So I mean, this is a challenge that New Zealand have on their hands.
Yeah.
If I could say New Zealand have one chance, it's probably batting first. It's probably batting first, winning the toss, batting first, and a run chase in the semi-final is never easy.
Mm.
There's always
Mm.
added
Of course. Yeah.
pressure. I mean, compared to a group game, there's always
Yeah.
added pressure, and
Mm.
anything can happen. So I think that's probably their best chance. But I mean,
Yeah.
you've got the run machine, you've got the chasing king in Kohli as well. So I mean, you got to take that into account. You've got to get enough runs to actually
Mm.
challenge India. So
Mm.
yeah, they've got their work cut out here at the moment. I think India are heavy favorites for that first semi-final. Hey.
Hopefully, yeah. I just don't want to see New Zealand in another final because I feel that whoever gets to, I think if New Zealand made finals, I think SC and Australia will be licking their lips. They'll be fancying their chances because, yeah, man, I don't know. New Zealand seems to choke in finals. Not that I'm dismissing them making finals. Finals is a big deal. Like, not every team makes finals. As it is, we haven't even reached a World Cup final, so I think it's a big achievement. But I feel India's best chance of actually winning this cup. So I fancy it, eh? Should India make the finals, of course.
Yeah, I mean, I just want to say one thing. I mean, New Zealand,
Okay.
they've started off the tournament so well, 4 out of 4. They had a bit of a
Mm.
dip towards the latter, the second half of the tournament. But I think Kane coming back into that side, Kane Williamson, I think he's really been a great addition. I mean, he's captaincy as well.
Yeah,
So I mean, he's a great captain. I mean, we all know that. So I
of
mean,
course.
but this is a challenge for New Zealand. I mean, they've got a boisterous Mumbai crowd that's going to be, you're going to see a sea of blue on Wednesday. I mean, supporting this Indian team.
Yeah.
They've been outstanding with bat and ball in this tournament. So, that is
Mm.
a challenge. And, they're making comparisons with the Australian sides of the early 2000s with regards to this Indian team. But I mean,
Yeah.
if they do go all the way, you definitely can make that comparison. But I mean, they're looking so ruthless at the moment. So I feel it's
Yeah.
going to be an uphill task. But I mean, the only way I can see New Zealand actually winning this game is actually batting first and making India chase. Because if India had to bat first, I just feel, that pressure
Yeah.
and their bowlers, I mean, they just know how to hit those good lengths. It's just going to be too much for New Zealand. It's just going to be too much for New Zealand.
You do make a good point because whenever New Zealand have beaten India, it has been by defending. I remember in the T20 World Cup in 2016, they defended a really pathetic score of 120, something like that in our score. I'll never forget that.
It was
Then
a
there was
really,
2019 World Cup.
it was a really dodgy pitch in Nagpur. I remember that game. It was a really, really dodgy pitch. Yeah.
But to India's credit, they made the semis and they lost to West Indies, so that was a bit upsetting as well. But anyway, West Indies was really good in those days in T20 cricket. And then there was 2019. Now I'll also never forget that. Really embarrassing. They only had to take a small 230 score, but anyway, New Zealand is famous at, giving India a hard time. But fingers crossed, India. But I think India could do both because I think they are much more mentally strong. I mean, very well led by Rohit Sharma and good coaching staff. But you are right. Batting first was ideal for India, and then. What are your thoughts on the second semi? Do you think SA's best chance is by batting first? Because I don't want to be negative, but I think Australia will be salivating if they batting first and depending on that Kolkata pitch.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the first semi-final, I did say India are overwhelming favorites, and rightly
Yeah, of
so.
course. Yeah.
But this game is a
Yeah,
lot closer.
of
The
course.
second game is a
Yeah.
lot closer. I mean, this is. I mean, Kolkata pitch. I mean, it has something for everyone. It's not the easiest pitch to bat on, and we did see in that Indian game as well. You got to really graft for your runs.
Mm.
I think it's good for the first 10 overs, but thereafter it does get a bit slow. Uh, you know. So I mean, yeah, I mean, SA have done so well, you know, batting first in this tournament,
Yeah.
and I just feel that is a template to go into this massive games. That you've
Mm.
got to win the toss and bat first, and
Yeah.
I think SA are not thinking about anything else other than batting first, and
Yeah.
this is their best chance of winning against Australia in the
Mm.
semi-final. I do feel this team has a template
Yeah.
on how to go about setting a score. They just know how to set a score. I mean, wickets in hand is vital, and we've seen it in all the games. 300 plus scores. They always have enough wickets towards the last 10 overs, and they've been
Mm.
they've been explosive in the last 10 overs. I mean, 140, 137. They've been scoring the last 10. So look, it's going to be a tough one. Hey, it's really going to be a tough one. I
Okay.
mean, Australia, we know how good they are in semi-finals and
Yeah.
stuff, but I
Yeah.
just feel this is SA's best chance. So that, I mean, we need the toss batting first, and Australia will
Mm.
definitely be under pressure. And I do feel this SA bowling attack can really put Australia under the cosh, batting second. And as I said, you know, in a semi-final, runs on the board is vital. It's vital. It's absolute gold dust. I mean, chasing in a semi-final
Mm.
is definitely not for the faint-hearted. I feel it's not for the faint-hearted, and you know,
Yeah.
there's a lot of things. There's a lot of things that got to go your way in a chase. You do need
Mm.
a bit of luck as well. I do believe in a chase, but I think the most important thing is you need one of those batters in the top four to play an innings, to bet towards the end. And at the moment, with the way SA is playing, I mean, I wouldn't write them off in a chase, but
Okay.
I would definitely be a little bit nervous, you know. Uh, but I think the best template to beat Australia in the semi-final is um, batting first, batting first. And it's a lot closer. I would think India and New Zealand is probably 70-30 in terms of India winning, but this one here is probably, I'd say around 55-45 or around 60-40,
I was
just slightly in
thinking,
favor of,
I was thinking more like 51-49 to South Africa. I think it's that close.
yeah. It's a close one. It's a close one. And I mean, we're going to see
Yeah.
how close this one is going to be. Yeah, it's going to be an
Yeah.
absolute pressure cooker, but I do feel this is SA's best chance that in terms of getting one over Australia in a knockout game when it really matters.
Yeah.
I mean,
Mm.
the team has been bowling well. The batting has been superb in this tournament. It's just about following that same game plan that has got to the semi-final, and that has been winning the toss and getting runs on the board. And I think if you can get over 300 plus against Australia, I think that would be enough in a semi-final. So with all the pressure
Yeah.
going around, I think chasing 300 in a semi-final is a tall order for any team.
As long as we don't drop dollies, we should be fine.
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, yeah. But yeah,
Uh,
seriously, this is probably our best chance to get to a final.
yeah, I think, yeah, to get to the final. Final, it's a bit, I know we're going to have a bit of a hot-heated one here, but I feel if India's won, I think the next one is South Africa. So I think if we keep playing well like this, we should win that World Cup. I feel.
I don't
Hopefully the pitches
want
are
to
much.
count my chickens before it hatch because World Cups are unpredictable.
I know.
World Cups are unpredictable. We never know
No, no,
what England can do in the next World Cup.
no,
I
no.
mean,
I'm
England
trying
can
to
go
say that.
back and regroup.
I'm trying to say that if they continue this form of playing well like this, then I think they can win the next World Cup in South Africa. That's what I'm saying. If they can continue this form, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, look, the
Hmm.
one thing, the beauty about sport, it doesn't go to script.
Of
Sport
course.
is so unpredictable. Sport is so unpredictable. So,
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, we never know what can happen in the final. I mean, if SA get to a first final, I mean, they could be buoyed with confidence and they'd want to, they see it as their best opportunity to get
Yeah,
one in the bag. So, I mean, everything
yeah,
to play for, so everything to play for. But
yeah.
yeah, I mean,
The only the
when
only
it
issue I'm
really comes to
finding
match
here,
day,
yeah, the only issue I'm finding here that should I say make the final, the only best chance for me is that if they make final against India, they'll have to bat first. I just don't see them chasing it against India because Indian bowling is so good under light. It's been unplayable. So unfortunately, we've been a bit one-dimensional in that department. But anyway, hopefully they do prove me wrong.
yeah, yeah, of course. I mean, absolutely. You've got to play to your strengths, and I mean, there's no shame in winning a game. The way if you've got a game plan. But I think the one good thing about SA that I've not seen in previous World Cups is that they do have a game plan batting first. I mean,
Of course.
there is a
Yeah, they have a
strategy going around.
blueprint.
I mean,
Yeah,
there is a
yeah, they have a
blueprint. Yeah,
blueprint.
absolutely, there is a blueprint. I mean, a lot of times in previous World Cups that you'd be overawed, batting first and not getting enough runs on the board. But I think this team, if they bat and and they bat, I do think the game plan of the Proteas in this World Cup is batting first and batting the team out of the game, which is a good thing. So this is the one thing that holds them in good stead. And I just say I mean, they're kind of two tosses away from winning this World Cup at the moment,
Oh
the way
yeah,
I see it.
oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, I think yesterday Afghanistan won the toss and they batted first. Yeah, that was the correct decision. And then tomorrow, in the same in the final, all they'll have to hope they win the toss 2 times and bat first, and that's your victory. I know that's making it as simple as it sounds, but it seems it's been that kind of World Cup. Either you bat first and win, or either if you're India, you're kind of blessed because whether you batted first and chase, they've won. So I don't think it'll affect India much. I think India's been having the right mindset. They've just tackled whatever thing has been thrown at them. I don't think they really give a damn whether they bat first or, but we never know until it happens, right?
Absolutely, and that's the challenge that teams facing India, for the rest of the tournament is going to face. I mean, this juggernaut. I mean, with bat and ball.
Oh yeah.
How do you stop this juggernaut?
Tomorrow against Netherlands, I hope they chase it because I think India bat first quite a bit now. Now I want to see them chase. It's a good preparation for them. Not that the Netherlands is going to be on the same level as New Zealand, but I like to see them chase the game. I know it's funny. I get so irritated seeing India chase, but now I've seen them batting so much first and winning. Now I see them chase and win. That's for the Netherlands, by the way. I don't really mind what happens in the next 2 matches, but just for tomorrow, I'd like to see them chase.
Yeah, I mean, of course, man. This is great preparation for the semifinals. But I think tomorrow you probably want to fine tune a few things going into that semifinal, and I think a lot of these group games, these final group games for teams, are just looking to fine tune. What really needs to be fine tuned. And I think SA getting over the line yesterday was very important as well, and the way they got over the line, because, I mean, chasing has been the Achilles heel in this calendar year. I mean, the games that they've won batting first, I mean, 78% win ratio. I mean, that is rightly so their strength. And, batting second, I think it's around 50-50, which is kind of fair in a way, because I mean, as I said, chasing is always difficult in that sense. Some teams thrive on chasing, some teams don't. But in the semi-final, Sid, I mean, there's always going to be pressure in the semi-final with regards to a chase. I mean, we saw it in the last World Cup. We're going to see it in this World Cup. I mean, there's always going to be pressure chasing. So I would always say bat first, get a good total on the point, and then puts the opposition under pressure. So that is the blueprint. That is the blueprint going forward.
Yeah.
And I think that is a blueprint that they need to, they need to continue with.
Yeah, before we wrap off, your quick thoughts on the Sri Lankan Cricket Board getting suspended by the ICC. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's a sad state of affairs, hey. And I think we've been hearing these stories about the Sri Lankan cricket board being in an absolute mess, turmoil, this
Mm.
whole World Cup, and
Mm.
I think that has really spread onto the national team as well. I don't
Mm.
think they've been able to play their best cricket because
Yeah.
everything has been unsettling for this team. So, I mean, I didn't see this coming, but I mean, if this is the way to get Sri Lankan cricket back to where they were, then so be it. But I mean, I did read the article yesterday about the entire cricket board being fired by
Mm.
the sports minister in Sri Lanka, and Sri Lanka is a turbulent country at the moment in sense of
Mm.
politically as well. I mean, there's a lot of turbulence in that country
Yeah.
politically as well.
Yeah.
So
They're
I
becoming like
do hope.
Zimbabwe.
Yeah, yeah. It's kind of disappointing, and I mean, look.
No, same. Yeah.
They needed to. I mean, I hope they don't get to Zimbabwe. What Zimbabwe
Yeah,
were,
I know. That's
yeah, what
horrible.
Zimbabwe got to. So I just hope that they do manage to, get that
Yeah.
cricket board clean up
Yeah.
and manage to get back into the ICC, because I think it's very important that Sri Lanka is
Yeah.
in world cricket. I mean, they offer so much to this game, so it's really important that they do your return to international cricket, and
Yeah.
they're full member as well, so it's important.
Mm.
I mean, cricket is going to be weaker without Sri Lanka being there. Uh,
Mm. Mm.
you know, so I do feel that this needs to be resolved. I mean,
Mm.
ICC made their decision, and you got
Mm.
to stand by it. And there's a lot of controversies regarding Afghanistan as well. I mean, Afghanistan, there's also issues with them not being allowed a women's team in their country. And I
Mm.
mean, we all know that the Taliban has obviously taken control of Afghanistan after the USA, you know, uh,
Yeah.
left
Withdrew. Yeah.
the Afghanistan border, and
Yeah.
there's a lot of I would say similarities with the Afghanistan situation and the Sri Lankan situation as well, because I mean, you've got the women's team and the men's team that's going to suffer now with regards to the ICC banning Sri Lankan cricket, which I think is kind of unfair as well. But I mean, this is the thing. This is the stance that the ICC have in terms of government
Mm.
interference, and
Yeah.
the ICC doesn't want any government interference when it comes to sports.
Yeah.
And it's come to this. It's a sad state of affairs. It's a really, really sad state of affairs, because I
Yeah.
feel Sri Lanka, they do have some talented players, and in a few years' time,
Yeah.
they could have the makings of a decent team. So I
Yeah.
do hope that things get resolved quite quickly there as well, eh?
Yeah. By the way, I just was thinking early on that how we got one wrong in our semi-final predictions. I remember I was SA, New Zealand, India, and Pakistan, if I'm correct. So I had one wrong. And I think you had, if I can remember, India, SA, England, and Australia. Am I correct in that prediction? I think you had that for your semi-finals, then, isn't it?
Yes, I did. I mean, I did. It was SA, it was England,
Yeah.
Australia,
And India, of course.
yeah, India, yeah.
So
So
you got England
I
wrong.
think
You would have thought,
I
yeah.
got England wrong. Yeah, my bad. I got
Nah,
England wrong.
nah.
So
But to be honest, you can't be crucified for that because many people would have gone for England. I think the only reason
you
why
know,
I excluded England, pardon?
the thing is, leading up to this tournament, New Zealand weren't really favored as a team to get to the semi-finals, because they seem to be an aging squad. There wasn't a lot of excitement regarding their team
Hmm.
selection, so I think
Hmm.
that's the reason why people have written off New Zealand. But New Zealand have adapted so well to conditions in the early part of this
Yeah, that's
tournament, and
them.
and the only thing that New Zealand have done that England hasn't done in this World Cup is win games that they were supposed to win.
Yeah.
Beating the likes of
Absolutely.
Bangladesh, beating the
Yeah.
likes of Netherlands, beating the likes of Afghanistan.
Mm.
I mean, that win against England was also massive,
Mm.
massive on the opening day. So, I mean, New Zealand, they find a way. They find a way of getting to the knockouts. You got to give them credit there.
England,
So,
yeah. England did beat Netherlands, thankfully. That
yeah,
would have been embarrassing, man.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's been a very underwhelming World Cup for England. I just feel they haven't adapted to conditions. That's been the biggest
Yeah.
issue with England in this World Cup. I mean, if you look at that squad on paper, it's a powerful team.
Mm.
It's a gun squad. It's a gun squad. If you
Mm.
look at that team on paper, I mean, the likes of Milan, Bairstow, Joe Root. I mean, you got Harry Brooks, you got Butler,
Yeah,
Moeen
you have too
Ali,
much talent.
Adil Rashid. I mean, absolutely, you've got so much of talent, but I do feel Archer was kind of missing in those World Cup because I think Archer was kind of the difference in the 2019 World Cup for England, and I think Archer's
Yeah.
pace would have been really good on this Indian wicket, Sid.
Yeah. Yeah, but then you
Yeah,
can't be
yeah,
depending on, yeah, but I guess you can't be depending on one particular main player and expecting miracles. But I think Michael Bowen did say the English bowlers were going to battle in the sense that those pitches were not going to be. But I think the pitches in this World Cup have been very nice. I think they've been better than the World Cup in 2019, Much more varied. And also, you were worried about the weather, but I think the weather's been mostly great, except the New Zealand and Pakistan match that could have threatened to have been washed out. But thankfully, more than 20 overs were done by the time Pakistan had batted. And yeah, Pakistan Zaman was having maja, as they say in Hindi, which means he had a lot
absolutely.
of fun.
He was having Maja. He was having Maja. It was a batting paradise in Bangalore, and I mean we see it all the time. Bangalore is one of the best batting decks on
It
in
would have been
India.
nice as also for us in that. Maybe New Zealand might have scraped it. Maybe New Zealand may have scraped that win, and therefore it wouldn't have been bemoaning Pakistan. We'd have ever gotten over it. But then since Pakistan had won because of Duckworth Stewart, you never know. But
Yeah,
anyway, yeah, I
yeah.
guess
I
you,
mean, yeah,
yeah.
definitely.
And
It did
since
give them a chance to
Pakistan,
get into the
yeah,
semi-finals, but I mean, by
yeah.
New Zealand winning and by New Zealand winning by that margin, it kind of eliminated Pakistan, and I just feel
Mm,
they just got too
mm.
much to do in this game. Yeah. So yeah,
They're out, man.
I was happy.
The only
I was
way,
happy that the weather didn't play spoil sport in this tournament, which is good, which is
yeah,
really good.
yeah. I mean, actually, I know Pakistan is your favorite team, so I know you're happy about them not being in the semifinals. Also, I know you wasn't dancing for joy. I was like so upset because I felt that Pakistan didn't perform to their potential, but I think it's okay. I mean, they're allowed to not make a semi-final. I think in 2019 they missed out because of weather and net run rate. Yeah, they missed out because they just didn't perform to their potential, so that's fine. At least I was right about New
Yeah,
Zealand. New Zealand is just more
absolutely. I mean,
solid. Yeah, New Zealand is just more solid. That's why I always picked them as a semi-final. Yeah, I think if a punter had punted New Zealand to make semi-finals, they would have made good money on that. But anyway, I don't want to get into sports betting now. So I think that's, but yeah, and before we wrap off, I was going to say congrats to the Springboks. I was going to do it last week's chat, but I think you're busy. So
oh
congrats to the Bokker.
yes, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, congrats to the Springboks, man. Fantastic achievement from Sia and the boys. I mean, Coach Rassi was amazing in that
Mm,
tournament as well.
mm,
I mean, the way. I mean, the full credit to the coaching staff in that tournament.
mm,
I think
mm,
the way that they, changed players in certain games. I mean, they just showed, you know, why they so revered in world rugby. And yeah,
mm.
it was fantastic that they brought this home. And I mean, 4 World Cups. I mean, that's a record at the moment. And the challenge in the next World Cup is to go for a fifth time. But I mean, I do know that Rassi is going to come back as coach as well. So
Okay,
yeah,
nice.
it's good times being a Springbok fan at the moment. And yeah, very very proud of their achievements. I mean, they really had to do it the hard way. I mean, France in the
Of course.
quarterfinals,
Mm,
England in the semifinals, and then
yeah,
I mean they all foes New Zealand in the final.
yeah.
I mean they got the job done. So really really proud of the achievement. So fingers crossed that the Proteas can go all the way in this World Cup as well. Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed.
Yeah. I don't mind who win. I mean, SA and India, they are two good buddies in their own way. I think they've been together since if they were allowed into cricket ever since readmission. So I think that's nice. They have two teams that have that bond from so long ago. Who would have thought that you might have two teams that really love each other in a way because
Yeah,
of the past.
yeah,
Not they love.
absolutely. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah,
it's been 32 years of friendship between India and South Africa. I
yeah.
mean, the
Who would have
first
thought you'll have two
the
friends in the
very
final? How sweet.
first game that SA played after
Yeah,
returning from isolation
yeah. I'm saying,
was at
imagine two
Eden Gardens.
friends in the final.
Yeah,
Imagine two
Yeah,
friends
it
in
was
the
at Eden
final.
Gardens
How
in
sweet.
Kolkata.
Yeah. How delightful. That's why I don't mind
Absolutely.
who wins. Because why would I want to bash a friend? It's like, it's such a nice friendly story. Like, it's like having two brothers against one another. I'll be happy if this brother wins, and I'm not happy if the other brother wins. It's just like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, all the best for the weekend, Sid, and
Yeah.
happy Diwali, and
Yeah. You too, man.
hope you have a lovely day tomorrow, and
Yeah,
I'll
man.
chat to you soon.
You too, man. Take care. Bye bye.
Cheers, man. Cheers.